Welcome to You Are the Medicine. My name is Jeremiah Agnew. This podcast is a space where we explore the art of healing, transformation, and vitality. I sit down with healers, catalysts, and scientists from around the world to reveal how we can optimize our health and grow into wholeness. Because here's the truth. Healing isn't just for the few, it's for all of us. And it's about discovering the modalities that resonate with our unique journey. Let's go. We are really excited to be partnering with the Conscious Health Summit, a gathering of heart-led catalysts bringing ancient wisdom and modern science to our lives. Discover the true meaning of holistic health in Lisbon on the 2nd and 3rd of May, where 1,800 health seekers, 60 speakers and facilitators will share with you the tools, the tips, and the secrets for optimal living. Really happy that you're joining us today on You Are the Medicine. I have a dear friend, dear sister, Laura Korčulanin, with me today to talk about her amazing work. We met many, many years ago around a large theme of regenerative village building and thinking about how we can create living environments that are healthy. Laura herself is what we call a water steward. She has spent many years of her life deeply studying and in reverence to water, one of the principal elements for life, and how we have misused and misunderstood really the purpose of water and clean, healthy water in our living systems. Laura is an expert in this, and she's also a water priestess because she brings a great deal of sacredness to the understanding of our relationship to water. And I've been honored to participate and experience so much of her work on so many occasions, and it is amazing work. So I'm really happy to have you here today. Thank you, Laura, for coming.
Thank you, Jeremiah. What a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for participating, listening. This beautiful medicine.
Yeah, yeah. And that is really like a great deal of your work. You talk about water as medicine, and I love that. I love that approach, understanding how really important it is. So tell me a little bit about your work as will you refer to yourself and your business as the water whisperer? Because I think this is a beautiful understanding of that relationship that you've created to water.
Yes, it's a great beginning to kick off water as a medicine because the whole journey with Water Whisperer truly starts by listening to the water deeper. So the whisperer herself, himself, itself, it's someone who hears the water, but also replies to the water, corresponds to the water as a living being, and intakes water as a medicine, nourishment, highly bioavailable, charged, energized stream of life that increases health, abundance, and prosperity in all levels. And then this is just not something cosmic and super conscious and out there. The Water Whisperer is truly taking care of how do we understand the water as a living being in the first place? How do we deeply connect with its intelligence? And how do we increase her quality in overall well-being in our life? And then secondarily, we are truly taking care of how do we also refer to water in the world, in the living ecosystem, because the basic principle of as within, so without is also related to and corresponding to water. So as our inner hydrological cycle is running through our stream, through our bloodstream, through our cellular molecular level, transporting information, all the bioavailable data, everything that our body needs to be in a healthy vibrational movement, it's also reflecting how the world out there is. And to maybe give this important point in the beginning of our transmission is the reality is that most of humanity in this moment is dehydrated. And on the other side, this reflects why we have droughts in the world and what is the state of the world. Mm-hmm. And this is not philosophical. Maybe we can then later develop a bit more on this, but that's the main.
Yeah. Okay, this is wonderful. A great way to start. Let's start with maybe just the more tangible aspects of water in our own bodies. And you talk about bioavailability. I mean, I imagine surely water is probably the most bioavailable thing that we have other than air in terms of the intake. Our ability to absorb it into our system, into our body, means that it is very highly bioavailable. Is that correct?
Yes, to a certain extent.
Okay.
Of course, water is super bioavailable once it's structured and once it's mineral rich and once it is in the form that the body can intake it.
Okay. So let's go through that. What do you mean by water being structured?
Okay, so a structured water, it's I will refer to it as a exclusion zone water. It's a fourth state of water, which was discovered or defined by Gerald Pollack, a beautiful scientist researching the water for many years in the laboratory testing and so on. It's a water which is highly bioavailable, mineral rich, and it comes from the hydrophilic surfaces.
Okay. So when you say fourth state of water, we're saying water in its liquid form, its gaseous form, and its solid form.
Yes.
There is a fourth state.
Probably there are hundreds of states because water is one of the most mysterious resources, sources, databases that we have access to. And we are only on the brink of what is there in it. But yes, officially, this is a fourth state of water registered, which has a very different form of how it looks like in the microscopical level. So it has a hexagonal shape. If we go to the basics of how it looks like, but then what is the most interesting for the conversation we are having and for all of us learning around water is that's the water which is the highly nutritional, and that's the water that is actually supporting your organism to stream this vital hydrational properties into your body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point. When the water is structured, is alive, it's breathing, it's oxygenated, it's energized, it's harmonized. So it gives you the structure that your body can thrive.
Okay. So we have a better capacity for absorbing structured water into our body than unstructured water, is the sort of simplest understanding of it.
Yes.
Right. And then water itself is a carrier, right? We use it in laboratories for as a carrier of dissolving different substances into it. So it carries our minerals.
It carries information, it carries data, it carries memory, it carries minerals, it carries nutrients, it carries everything you need and want, and probably much more that we don't even know.
Wow. Okay, so let's go into memories. This is exciting. What do you mean when water carries memory?
So I would maybe start with things that most of the people know. So there was a beautiful study of Emoto studies. I mean, it has quite big research behind. And Dr. Masaru Emoto, he first time proved and showcased to the world how water is recording a memory in real time.
Hmm.
So what that means that actually that was a blueprint imprinted under the microscope how water was corresponding to any thought, to any word, to music, to anything exchanged in correspondence with water. But beyond that, that's something that is seen and nowadays a lot being worked, especially with one of the beautiful persons that I deeply admire, Veda Austin, with crystallography experiments when watching the water and how she's absorbing information and anything being streamed on her dreams, conversations, whatever, and in real time freezing the blueprint of what is being said. So what that means that actually water is a living being. So as you and I are conversing, and I have some beautiful spring waters in these bottles, this water is literally, let's say, listening, whispering, recording information. I would say it's a vast database where all the information is being stored. And so I don't want to go too much, let's say, in the consciousness and spiritual side yet of this, but I just want to name that yes, water does imprint information, and science is catching up slowly on that, but there is a lot of databases how water is corresponding.
Hmm.
I would say water is one of the most ancient technologies that humanity has access to, which has all the imprint of their information in water and in our bodies because we are made of water.
Okay, this is amazing. So water has a memory. Water is storing memory all the time. It's listening to the surroundings.
Yes.
So there is a field of knowledge, field of information that is being picked up. Tell me a little bit about how the quality of the water that we're absorbing, that we're drinking, that we're bringing into our body, how does that improve the quality of our lives?
Great point, because literally water intake of water defines the quality of life you have. And I believe that's a hard statement I'm making, but it's a truthful statement. The highest level of intake, the highest level of structured water, bioavailable, high in minerals, nutritional water, coming from hydrophilic surfaces, that water will literally enrich your life in all levels. And depleted water, which comes back to the hydration of your body, it's not absorbing, it's not hydrating, it's not entering your cellular molecular level. So that means that it's mainly just flushing through your body. So it's not giving you any activation. Your mitochondria is not energized by it. It's just literally flushing through you.
Mm.
And the way you think, the way you walk, the way you feel, the way your brain functions, it does depend how your water stream, how your hydration levels are, how your oxygenation levels are. And of course, I'm not a biohacker specialist, but I can assure you that water and hydrations are the basic guidelines for any nutritional nourishment health levels we should be looking at. And
Mm.
I believe a lot of time it's dismissed in conversations. Of course, there is a lot of opening recently, but for me, also working in this field for over 15 years, I was working in urban water infrastructure first, very technical, intellectual, until the water called me to listen to her and understand how she can nourish me, how she can actually give me what I truly need to operate, function, and have a better quality of life and also vitality in my body.
Yeah.
And then that shifted in understanding that she gives information that I can restructure myself, feel better.
Yeah, there's a wonderful shift, I think, in moving from the way that the lack of appreciation that we have for water. We turn on a tap, it comes out, it's been purified in a kind of municipal industrial sense, um, and we drink it, and yet we're very unaware of that as a substance that's so important to us. So we can take it for granted, I think, in many ways. And so, but you started off, you said, by working in the space of understanding the, the importance of water on like a kind of infrastructure level, right?
Yes,
Okay. And then now you've shifted into something more of like, how do I relate to the water?
exactly.
Okay. All right. That journey,
Mhm,
there's quite a shift.
mhm.
Has it been a gradual thing, or whether these some moments of like, oh wow, kind of like aha moments?
I can see it in the both ways, because it's interesting life now. Like, it is a gradual process because, of course, it's a personal upbringing, it's a professional upbringing, it's the people you meet, it's situation you create. But there were some breakthrough moments which were absolutely defining, and they're defining my life right now. So they were like eureka. Oh my God, how did I dismiss this? Oh my God, I'm all these years looking into water as the thing and not as a living thing.
Mm.
So that completely changed the perspective. And then, of course, it brought the whole new venue and excitement and people and situations and tools and devices, and it's endless. And yeah, there were important points to bring to the place where I'm at, for sure.
Hmm.
And I can maybe like briefly share the story, just because it's of course it's a long journey now. It's lifetimes. But certainly here and now, why I am here, it started back first in 2007, when I was working on a first authorship project in municipality in Slovenia, where I come from. And I was like the sixth sense, the rebel in me, the activist, the environmental activist, wanted to understand what's happening with the quality of water in the region I come from, and I couldn't have any data. I mean, I need to do a lot of, let's say, bureaucracy to really get that data. In that time, I was, I think, 17 years old. So it was a bit of a strange place to discover that actually I just don't have any access to so basic thing as quality of water. So that was like a first moment, okay, there is something wrong. And then 2019, that would be the most important moment, which completely changed my life from who I am today and why I am in the water space. It's bizarre enough. It started with toilets. So I was living in Barcelona and walking down the streets of La Rambla, you know, Bairro Gótico, like all these beautiful areas. Everything smelled of pee, you know, and probably a lot of people, tourists, whatever.
Many of us guys,
Yeah,
after a bit of a night out, dying for a pee, and you just go and pee against the side of a building.
exactly. And
we're responsible for a lot of smelly cities.
and that precise situation turned my life upside down, because that was the moment I was like, it's not about why people are peeing on the street, but what is happening, where are the toilets? And then I went literally down the toilet drain. And as I went down the toilet drain, I was in that time writing my master degree, or choosing the theme for my master degree, and I was like, that's the thing. And when I went down the toilet drain and I went to this understanding of infrastructure in the city, I was looking first on sanitation, but sanitation is directly inherently connected to water. And that was the the second or third one, which was just like, that's it. I'm looking into toilets because of water, because we're wasting drinkable, purified water transported hundreds of kilometers away from the city down the drain. And then later on in that time, I found that an advocacy platform, Give a Shit, and Give a Shit was truly giving a shit around the shit, literally water sanitation challenges in urban developed city places. And from that timeline on, I just went deeper down the drain and then out of the drain suddenly when I understood that the waste is also a resource. So I started to work a lot around how actually we are wasting unnecessarily water, but on the other side, how we don't understand that human excreta is also such an excellent resource, not just for a fertilizer, but endless topics. And then let's fast forward, because there are probably 10 years in between.
Yep.
In that moment, the fast forward happens in 2017, the point when I'm invited to speak on a big stage for Portuguese, a conference where most of the very known leading water brands, companies, industries, tech developers, so even government was there on the stage, and I was one of the speakers. And I was invited to speak on something like communicating water. And I was speaking a lot already in that time, but in that moment was really something in me was different. And the question mark came, who are you to speak on water? Like, what are you actually going to speak? I mean, are you going to perform? What are you going to, like, it just felt different. Yeah. So the inner conversation started to the point that I first time in my life sat down with the water consciously and look at water, and I said, okay, so I will be talking supposedly on your behalf, because that the topic, it was in Portuguese, but something between that lines on talking on water, with water. And it was first time in my life when I sat with her consciously and also asked her guidance and questions. And that was the breakthrough moment. Because the next day or a few days later, when I step on the stage with a few hundred people in front of me, I just saw it, felt it clearly, what I'm here to do. But more than anything, I just saw magnetized field of information that I could stream and open people's hearts with love and reverence to this precious resource.
Yeah.
Because that's the main thing that's missing. And then fast forward, this is why Water Whisperer was born. We're a part of connection, engagement with the water as a living being. We also work on water protection and developing new protection mechanisms, which is a whole new project and business which is still not officially out there, but it's something I'm happy to share soon with the world.
Amazing. That's very exciting. It makes a lot of sense in many ways. When we think about the different elements, we look at fire, we feel that fire is talking back to us. It's a dance, it's a movement, and it was so drawn to it. It's like a very, you know, primal aspect of ourselves. And earth, like, many of us like to put our hands in the earth and feel that connection to the soil and to the life that's in there. And with water, it's not something that many of us have had that opportunity to connect with and talk to. So I've really appreciated your your water ceremonies where we have spent time listening and in reverence and understanding the sacredness of this incredible element, how important it is to our life and how blessed we are to have it, and how she heals and how she cleanses, and all of these things we just think of it a very, it does cleanse, it does wash, but it does this in a very energetic way too. And so many layers to water that I'm only just discovering through you. Tell me about some of the layers that you've seen that you find are so important to our own healing.
I mean, I would say endless, endless perspectives, endless approaches. I would say the baseline of everything is, I'm going to emphasize probably the third or fifth time in our conversation, but looking into water with new eyes, understanding that she's a living being. It gives completely new perspective when you take a shower or when you flush the toilet or when you intake the glass of water. Because any information, it's not just about what you say, because humanity, people like us talking, we are very much programmed on the wording exchange, on the linguistics. But the water records everything, records thoughts, records frequencies, records vibration, records information, which is not just tangible by wording. So the way you hold your glass of water before you drink it, the way you connect with this living being, the way you exchange the intake of information, it will nourish you back in the same way. And then some very basic chemistry, first class, first grade knowledge. Once you shake the bottle of water, of course, it's not to the full extent, but you would open and oxygenate the molecule or spiraling the water. Just because as you are spiraling the water, you're literally putting her in her natural state where she's vortexing and where she's actually coming back into movement. Because the main problem in our society is that the water is stagnant, dormant in the piping system, which is not allowing any movement, any structure. I will try to simplify our bodies. If you would just sit, I mean, what happens to you?
Muscle dystrophy, like everything starts to fade. We die eventually.
Probably, yeah. You fade. And so the movement, it's not just about you need to drink water to be hydrated and stay vital and stay alive. I mean, it's not just these basic facts. It's also you need to move your body. You need to structure your body. That means the structured water. So as you structure water in the bottle or in the glass with the movement, she increases the hydration level in your body. But also moving your fascia, moving your body, it's also going to increase increase the level of water intake, the hydration level in your body. So it's very important to look into water with new eyes, do the basic movements. I would say this is very low-tech knowledge, that it's so basic. It's understanding that water in nature is always moving, not water is never stopping. Even in the lake, on any living environment where water is moving, even if gently, softly exchanging between the temperature in the lake and so on, but water is moving. So the movement is very important. The light. So water reacts on several factors: movement, vibration, frequency, light, sound, and probably there are many more. But basics of what we have immediately access to, these are the ways that you can work with water. Putting sound, putting information, being present. But on the other side, also being aware that you should not be enchanting yourself with water. Because, I would say it is a tool to increase potential, but it can be also a tool if you're constantly trying to induce things. It's like the frequency devices, this beautiful hydrogen bottle. It's activating the hydrogen bottle, but also has a frequency device above. So using the frequency, I personally don't use it too much just because I'm oversensitive. And if I'm constantly inducing water, because this is working on restructuring the water molecule to have a deeper level of absorption, this one is working between 270 to 320 nano wavelengths. It's like a sun light directly streaming on the water and restructuring the water molecule.
Okay.
It's good, but you wouldn't do that all the time because by night there is no sunlight. So it's kind of basic logics that when you work with water, it's like, it's just good to be aware that water should be healthy. And the basic, I would say, thing that we can do and that really changed for myself, it's fetching my own water. It's going to spring. I mean, going weekly to spring, it's like going to a church.
Yeah.
It's going to a sanctuary. It's like saying hello to your mother.
But these spaces that were springs were holy sacred places because they were so important to our survival as well as our health. And then these places became places of worship, and then they became small chapels and churches, and then cathedrals eventually.
Yeah.
Right. So there's always been a water source, and when we talk about going back to source, it is about going back to the place where the water comes out like the nipple of the mother to feed us, to nourish us.
I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. And remembering that relationship, I think, is a very important part of the sacredness. So, I mean, even yesterday I was in Sintra in a spot that Laura told me about, collect sacred water from the source coming out of the Sintra mountain, and very pure, soft, beautiful tasting water, which is alive because it has the minerals, it has bacteria and organisms right within it coming from the earth, and it has been moving through the entire cycle, right? The whole water system cycle, and then from the pressure in the aquifers up the mountain and out of the source again. So it's very special. But even now I have it in the plastic bottles. I shouldn't be keeping it stagnant.
Exactly.
Right.
You should not. And I love how you explain like drinking from the mother milk, like the nectar of life coming from the spring, from the nipple. Because the truth is, one of the researchers that I deeply admire, Victor Schauberger, he's compared to Nikola Tesla on the level of innovations that he brought through with water in the water space. And he claimed that we should drink water only once it comes to the surface. It's not like, because now we are doing a lot of boreholes and taking water in all possible ways to us because it's droughts, and then we go deeper in water and destroying all the watershed and so on and so on. And the truth is that the water is it's ripe when it comes up to the land. So this is the spring is the place of resourcing yourself with a true pure source water. I do want to address one thing that I imagine some people already listening are having the concerns, and I can hear the bubbles around me, question marks. And that one of them, it goes bacteria, like you said. What about bacteria, which is in the fountain? What about the contaminants can be there from agriculture, pesticides that are, of course, it can happen, but I can almost assure you that 99% of spring water, which is really coming from a spring in a natural environment, it's filtered to the level that it's surely healthy to intake into your body. Even if it has bacteria, your gut biome is full of.
We are bacteria. We're more bacteria than cells.
We are bacteria. Yeah. So it's not about, it's about what kind of bacteria. And it's, of course, as water, this is also an important information. Different types of water have different types of quality. So it's also important. It's like having a water sommelier experience. It's like with food. It's not you always have the same things on your plate. Yeah. So water is also like that. It has different levels of different components in it, you know. And this is what you can see on the unfortunately in the plastic bottles description, because there are some prerequisites that they need to come with that.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot more in the imprint on water than you can have by testing and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So go to my spring. There is this beautiful app, and do explore waters, because it's such a precious hike to your own sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And,
And I think a lovely part of that process as well is when I collect water, I give back. I recognize that I'm receiving and I'm taking. So what am I offering back in terms of the gratitude, or a flower and some petals, or some acknowledgement of the fact that I'm receiving something very special? And I think this is why we have lost that relationship to water, because we've lost the understanding that it is such a gift. So many different types of water. We're all buying spring water now in bottles and in shops, but we really should be getting it from the spring, the source itself. So many of those have been privatized, so we don't have the same level of access. But I love the fact that you've shared with us My Spring, an app that we can go and find out about it. How can any of us who are listening, how can we learn more about water through your work? What is it that you're doing at the moment that others can engage with?
okay, that's brilliant, because we do love to not just grow community, but we love to spread the message that we have for the world and activate water stewards around the world. So in this moment with the Water Whisperer, we are running one larger campaign on the ocean conservation, a sea treaty, and more signatures better. I know it sounds basic and petition based, but this truly has an impact on how policy and how the protection law on the water works.
Okay.
So there is like something very tangible where you can go on our website and where you can join.
Great. So top level advocacy, putting
Yes,
pressure, and
exactly.
signing petitions.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
On the layer, I would love to invite you to one of our events where you can really dive deep with your own waters, because there is where you will learn all what we are talking about, but deeper you will experience the spring water intake. You will have access to the water bar. It's so beautiful just to sit with all these different waters, energized, structured, hydrogenated, harmonized.
So we can be the sommelier,
Yeah,
the water sommeliers, and try
exactly.
different
Come
types.
to be water sommelier with me and us.
Uh-huh.
Then we are also doing some special offerings with different kind of water experiences. Organizing some retreats that they will be announced very, very soon, all water focused. And then beyond Water Whisperer, there is a new platform being born, which will be very important for all of us. It's called IKVI.
IKVI.
Yeah,
Okay.
and IKVI, it's literally IK, indigenous knowledge, WI, water intelligence, and AI combined as a new water protection mechanism.
IKVI. Okay.
IKVI is IKVI, based on water intelligence guidance, indigenous knowledge, or water stewardship, water management, and bioindicators joined later on, which is still not the stage we are in, but later on joined with the AI and database to stream real-time data on how water is doing and how can we actually support the water protection laws in the future, and eventually educate AI as a water steward in our lives, to tell you all about your water intakes, to tell you all about how your waters are doing. So this is something we are birthing. It's still on embryo phase, but it's coming to you very soon. A lot of beautiful hands behind there, and a lot of heart and beautiful minds coming together.
Wow. Very exciting. And I think very valuable to have that perspective, to start feeding that information and knowledge into the LLMs and to the LMs, and begin for all of us to have a better relationship with water and to be supported with AI. That's fantastic. Thank you for this. It's great. I'd love to ask,
on this note,
yeah,
if I may,
yeah, please.
It's the water journey. I never chose or thought there needs to be an AI, because I've always believed in low tech, and I believe in how water was managed for thousands of years from indigenous tribes and our ancestors. That's what we need to relearn and remember. But the water was saying, AI will support and speed up the process on water stewardship. So talking on water as a medicine, water has its own language, water knows the way. Silica, which is in our screens, it's the same like in water.
And in our chips.
In chips, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's important to remember that everything is nature in some senses, right? Even the things that we don't think are natural and are all part of a system. And we can consider AI as a tool that can either, we can use it for good or we could use it for bad, and the same as any tool. And in this case, I think it's wonderful when I hear and see people who are using AI to really improve the world, the environment, and our surroundings, our life, our health style, our healthy lifestyles. So yeah, I really thank you for that. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, is there somebody in your life who you would like to give gratitude towards, who has been instrumental in this path, this journey that you've been on?
Thank you. Wow, that's a big one. Just because it's not just one person and it's not just one story, but I will start with the most important one. And that's my beloved partner with whom I started Give a Shit advocacy platform, who from the first day when we met, actually, he was in that time studying architecture and sending me photos of toilets as I was discovering a toilet challenge, encouraged me to work on toilets and go down the drain, and pushed me to the extremes with him together to work on the topic. And he was so dedicated, and he passed away. And that was Nuno was a really special piece for me to keep on understanding that life is short, this in this three-dimensional reality, and made me question what is the legacy I'm leaving behind. And from that day on, I even deeper committed to the journey I'm on. And then I also want to express deep gratitude to one of my very deep mentors, professors, university professors, and a dear friend, Rajko Muršić, who was also part of my master's and my PhD research. And even so deeply in the academic world and science, he so believed in the edginess of my research and in the futuristic vision of the whole system's change on the water. That, once you're this edgy, let's say crazy student chick running around, it's good to have a firm ground, someone who sees beyond in front, historically, but also can bring some science with it and give you a hand. So that was a precious kind of upbringing, having that people. And then also a deep, deep gratitude to one of my very close soul sisters for thousands of years, I'm sure, Sabine, because she knew I'm the water whisperer. Because before the brand came out, and the brand is just, the way we use language in nowadays society. But for me, it was really, I questioned and sat with water for over 6 months. I went to different water sources, prayed, asked, meditated, and said, this is not about me. I want to deliver the truth of your intelligence to the world. So what is the name? And she was saying, the name is you. And I never wanted to assume, because I thought this is so egoistic. But then this is you, of course, it comes back as within, so without, as below, so above. And it came back to the sister of mine who on one phone call just decoded, uncoded everything. And she was like, you're the water whisperer. You hear her calling, but you stream her language. And that was like the pin dropped and everything just made sense. And then the most amazing, this streamline to all the beautiful team surrounding me and co-creating this vision, including you, including supporters, including everyone who understands how important this mission is for the future of our humanity. It's the blessing, because the water whisperer, it's me only in this moment to transmit the whispering stories to activate other people. So the like I said, brand, it's actually the the molecule, the water molecule, the water memory information activation point, which just hands out where we need to be going.
Wow.
It's to connect deeper with her and
Mhm.
to open up to the more profound level.
Mm.
I mean, it's mind blowing, like truly, people. It's not just like, it's nice. I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you, but it's just next level. I mean, it's simple. It's water. And then yet it's so sophisticated and intelligent that we don't have even an A of what it really is on the long run behind this beautiful resource source, living being, mother.
Indeed. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. It's been an amazing conversation. Loved. I always love hearing you talk about water. It makes me very joyous. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Our waters are happy.
Our waters are happy. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Ciao for now. You, yes, you are the medicine. Every insight, every shift, every step you take towards wholeness ripples out into the world. We're all healers and we're all healing. And together, we're remembering what it means to truly thrive. If this conversation moved you, if it sparked something inside, subscribe, share it with someone who needs it, and let's grow this circle of healing together. Because healing isn't just personal, it's collective. And the more we rise, the more the world rises with us. I'll see you next time. Keep listening, keep exploring, and keep being the medicine. Thank you.